So I have a question for Andrea. I'm not sure if it was Andrea that posted this or somebody else, but apparently the history on Charlie Kirk is that he sort of was discovered by this old guy. Is anybody familiar with that story?
Yes, but Andrea
Elliot,
may
you
be
are.
more.
Maybe you can go further with it, but I'll tell you, that is fucking scary. That is really scary.
Yeah, Andrea, you've.
I don't know this. It wasn't me.
Okay, Elliot knows.
Yeah. What was the name of his organization? Is Turn Out, Turn Around.
Not
Turning
turning
Point?
Turning Point.
Turning Point. Thank you. Turning Point.
Turning Point.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turning Point was Turning Point was an organization that was started by this conservative advocate. His name was Bill Montgomery, and he was about 80 years old at the time that he discovered Charlie Kirk, and he essentially just kind of took him underneath his wing and kind of financed his way up to where he was before he assumed room temperature. Bill Montgomery, as it turns out, died of COVID in 2020, I believe. And
Right.
my brain was trying to do the math at that point and think, well, 2020. Did he use the mask? Certainly, there were no vaccinations available at the time for him to refuse. But he sounded like the kind of a person who would have refused one had it been available at the time. So I got to think he was pretty casual about how he tried to keep himself away from COVID. But it was just, 2020, we were just learning about it. So I don't know if I can fault him for that, but he did. He died in 2020 of complications due to COVID. But Bill Montgomery, he's the one who squired this kid for a while. But let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Your reaction to what just happened this week. Are we giving too much weight to this guy and his murder? I mean, everybody's trying to be on their best behavior and not talk bad about him. And it's okay because, yes, we don't advocate nor do we suggest that anyone, for that matter, be murdered. But he was. And a lot of people think their lives are better because it happened. They didn't wish it to happen, but since it did,
Yeah.
that's the way it is. What do you think, Peter?
I have no clue on whether we're better off with him dead or not. I guess, I saw somebody, I have very few right-wingers in my Facebook feed, but I saw a local realtor friend of mine that posted a photo of JFK, Martin Luther King, and Charlie Kirk. I mean, I don't get it how we ought to be thinking of him in those terms. And I guess the question is that something that is going to pull people out and things are going to get worse because of it? Or is this thing going to just pass as I think it should?
Yeah.
I don't think this person was particularly important.
Yeah. Andrea, did his murder move the needle for Donald Trump, or is this just a passing thing?
The more the left wing is outraged, the more action Trump will take.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's doing things that if there wasn't so much outrage on the left in response to the outrage or the feigned honor of this person that we all know, he wouldn't be doing all the things that he's doing. There was a quote from a pastor. I actually made it my cover page, from a pastor who just gave a sermon. And his quote was, "How you die does not redeem how you lived." And I thought that was...
How you die does not redeem how you live. So in other words...
How you lived.
He built that hill and he died on it. It's all on you.
Well, he doesn't get any extra points for being assassinated if he did terrible things during his life.
And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at
He's
least
getting all these extra points.
and at least from the right. I don't necessarily think from the left. Although people, as I said, I think most are trying to be as respectful as they can, considering what came out of his mouth. I guess in the last 10 years or so of the existence of Charlie Kirk, most are trying to be as respectful as possible, and that's good. We should be. Again, nobody should wish the death of anyone, no matter how heinous they are. But you can't.
I just wanted to mention that person who said that, Pastor Howard John Wesley of Alfred Street Baptist Church, his comments went viral about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we're at all, for the viewer who may not be familiar with this guy, and if you're not, welcome back to Earth. This has been going around for about a week or so now. But I suppose there are people who are not terribly familiar with Charlie Kirk and everything that he said. There's a bunch of stuff that he said. Some people think it makes sense. Other people think it's just flat out racist. Other people just can't understand. But for those of you who did not get a bit of what he said, take a look at this.
Last year you said something about DEI, unqualified black pilots. You see a pilot on a black pilot. Don't you think it was an irresponsible statement suggesting that maybe these pilots aren't qualified or unqualified?
No. But I'll tell you exactly what I said and why I said it.
Okay, go ahead.
I said, the pretext, I went through a whole windup. I said United Airlines is saying that they want 40% of all their pilots to be people of color or women. We have learned that we have relaxed standards anytime that we try to reach racial quotas. Anytime we reach racial quotas, we relax the standards. Standards for air traffic control, professors, or college admissions. Therefore, when it comes to pilots or surgeons, if I see somebody who is black, as I said on the show, I'm going to hope that person is qualified. That's what I said, which of course is legitimate. Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Than a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
You create a company that's like close to being a fascist, and then
okay. How am I?
Sorry.
Let's go through this. How am I a fascist?
Dude,
Can you name one thing I believe that's fascist?
You believe that you on. Oh, shit.
Let him think.
But
I'm such a bad fascist. I let the people who disagree in open mic to talk to me for 2 hours uninterrupted.
Okay.
I'm an awful fascist. I'm more like a free speech liberal of the 1970s, not a fascist.
But I just want to say Turning Point USA is a evil company that was funded by thousands of fracking companies, and
No, it's not thousands, but we do have some frackers that give us money. But
and then all it is making the rich more rich.
Fascism to fracking.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
Okay, again, I'm happy to have a debate. I can see you're getting kind of fired up.
I'm sorry.
So, but why are we evil? Like, we're having a nice discussion.
Because
all of a sudden you're calling me like
because
a
it
fascist.
seems like you just want the rich get even more rich.
We haven't talked about the rich at all. I mean, so.
Clever medicine show, right?
Yeah.
From town to town.
It's sad.
Yeah, taking advantage of young people and other folks who really haven't had a chance to exercise critical thinking and don't know what the hell they're talking about, frankly.
Well, one of the things that is really pointed out clearly when you watch this guy is that his audience is ill prepared to deal with him. At least in the United States and U.S. campuses, if you watch some of the interactions he's had with people, let's say at the Cambridge Union, where you've got some British students who are skilled in debate, he gets just torn apart. It's difficult for him to handle. So, it's the problem I have with this. What's been going on the last week is how do you react when someone who is fundamentally spouting evil ideas or thoughts dies tragically. I mean, you obviously don't want to say things that are going to hurt his family, but on the other hand, you just don't want to see someone like that martyr. You
Right.
know, when what he's really known for is something that we should not support at all.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? I mean,
Well,
what's the process? Are you quiet? Do you talk about his own words? I think it's appropriate to stay away from ad hominem attacks, but I don't think you should let it slide when the President of the United States says he's going to give him the Medal of Freedom and he's flying flags at half staff and we're spending government money to transport his body from place to place and the Vice President takes over his podcast. I mean, it's just a little bit extreme, and there's got to be an appropriate way to react to.
As comedians often say, too soon. Maybe give it an appropriate amount of time to pass, and there will be that criticism of Charlie Kirk. But a lot of people, we hear a lot of people now saying, "Look, we have the First Amendment. It's a free country. You can speak your mind, even if it is unpopular." Charlie Kirk was just exercising his right to free speech. Was he? Or was he pushing a narrative that was inherently dangerous?
Well, he was pushing a narrative that was inherently dangerous, and he was doing it in a way that was misleading because he was known to have edited the content that he recorded before he presented it online. So, everybody who opposed him was
Which everybody does.
as ill-informed. Of course, everybody does. It's basically, Trump is now suing news outlets for editing stuff.
For having edited.
So,
I
was going to bring up.
Yeah. Go on. Go ahead, Andrea.
I was going to bring up somebody that presented an actual definition of who he was. And it's a term that you can Google, and it really aligns with what he's doing.
And that would be
malicious contrarian.
Malicious contrarian. What did that mean?
Like he is.
You brought it up.
He is basically. He's one of those people who argues for the sake of argument, but he has an agenda behind it.
Okay.
And he just basically is a contrarian with malicious intent with everything that he wants to push out there, every impression he wants to give.
Yeah. You could make a good case that this young man did this for personal gain. For personal gain, not only personal and maybe even political gain. I'm sure he had some designs on the political arena, but from what I understand, he became moderately wealthy in the time that he's done this, along with the person who was supporting him. And
very wealthy. Yeah. And he had failed miserably prior to this. He found his fools.
What did he do before this? In all this back and forth all week, I really haven't had the chance to see what Charlie Kirk was before
Somebody
Charlie
posted
Kirk.
that he failed out of school.
Well, he at least dropped out of school. He definitely dropped out of college.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that. Yeah. Did not know that.
And I think there was a previous job.
Maybe he's self-taught. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Well, he certainly had a quick wit about him, and I'm sure that's part of what this older gentleman that we spoke of earlier saw in him. But to me, the real problem is that this organization and what it is that they have been actively doing in our universities. It's not a surprise that we now hear about the issue with lefty professors being ridiculed and being identified. One of the actions that this group has been taking, and this reminds me of communism, by the way, they're getting some of their followers to go in and become snitches regarding ideologies that this group doesn't agree with that are coming out of professors. So they're snitching on professors. It really reminds me of what I know of Cuba. The way communism partly worked in Cuba is that every block in a city had at least one person that the government had brought in to snitch on the other neighbors. And that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah. You know,
He grew up in my, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
He grew up in my neighborhood of Chicago, suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah. Okay.
He went to Wheeling High School, which was one of our sport competitors at Schaumburg High School. And I was like, Illinois has a huge population of right-wing conservative, even though they're a liberal city, but
yeah, you know, and what Peter was talking about, it goes back to reminds me of an ancillary problem that's going on right now. A lot of people finding themselves speaking out about Charlie Kirk's murder and more or less what Charlie Kirk espoused and their disagreement with it, and they're finding themselves fired, released from work, suspended. Right. A lot of people are pushing back on that. And I get the impression that it's because we still do not understand in this country how the First Amendment works. Am I off base here, Merrill?
Well, I'm not quite sure what you're saying. I mean,
for example, I give you an example. Some people. There was a woman. There's a couple of people, in fact, male and female, who were moaning and groaning online right now because they were fired from their employment because of a social media post that was not very complimentary about Charlie Kirk. So in other words, you spoke out. We'd warned you about this before. What do you mean you warned me? This is a country. This is my free speech. I can say anything I want to. Not when you're employed by me.
Well, sure. I mean, a private employer has the right to fire people if they don't like what they're saying online, generally, unless it's some form of discrimination.
Why don't we know that by now?
But people don't understand that free speech is in the context of the relationship you have with the government. The government can't impinge upon your speech.
Sure.
But private individuals can impinge on your speech. They can unfriend you.
Absolutely.
They can, in some cases, they can fire you. If you're the face of a company and you say something that is could be possibly damaging to the company, you can expect to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than a morals clause, but it's, we don't have free speech.
Mm-hmm.
We have a constitutional
Capitalism.
right to be protected from the government interfering with our speech.
Exactly.
But
why is it that we don't understand that at this point? This comes up in a number of different conversations and in a number of different events. In that, and I guess it's just the ignorance of the general public across a wide spectrum, that you think that because I can put it on my phone and I can hit enter, I'm entitled to do that anywhere, anytime, 24/7.
Stephen Colbert does it every week, and now his company.
Well, Well, let's think about that for a second. Stephen Colbert is in a different environment, and there actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's actually been some talk about Colbert and the fact that CBS was in fact in the tank financially. So that was more or less a financial move more than a political move by CBS, maybe a little bit of both. But Colbert was always in a different arena. He is expected to talk about things, to tell his opinion on things, and make it funny. If it's funny, it's cool. So that's why I think a lot of people were outraged about that. It's like he's doing his job every single night.
Well,
it's expected.
The other thing
say for
Colbert,
example, a reporter or an anchor. No, you can't get on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and express. You're supposed to do this, and anything else outside of this arena on social media reflects against your employer, who expects you, reporter, to be objective, or you, who works in a supermarket, not to reflect badly on the supermarket chain with your comments on social media.
Well, the problem I have with Colbert, other than that you know, some funny guy is now going to be taken off nightly television, is that it's really a hybrid situation. So it does invoke the First Amendment, because part of CBS's rationale for firing him, probably the real reason, was not a financial reason. The real reason was they wanted to be protected against government action or inaction, not approving mergers, whatever. So they were kowtowing to Trump, in a sense, by firing him. So in that sense, the First Amendment was implicated, because Stephen Colbert suffered the loss of his job because of the things that he said in relation to the government, Trump in particular, and his employer was fearful of not being treated fairly because of those things.
By the government.
So it's at
the
least
FCC.
Indirectly a First Amendment issue.
Sure. Okay. Nope. You make a very good point, and I will give you one in the win column for that. But let's say any other broadcast entity. I mean, I don't know if I can really. I'm trying to rewind in my mind what ABC went through, and certainly CBS.
Well, what about Matthew Dowd?
Remind me.
Matthew Dowd.
Remind me.
That's recent. He made some comment, I'm not sure what it was, about Kirk, and CNBC fired him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what he said.
I don't either, but if in fact, I'm sorry, go ahead, Peter.
It was early on. No, I have nothing else on it.
Yeah, I'd have to look, but again, if Matthew Dowd made a comment that was outside of his normal duties as an analyst or a pundit or what have you with the network that he was working with. So in other words, doing this within social media, he's probably contractually obligated not to do that. That's not what you do. Because
I think it may have been on
when you're in
air.
our studio, we can control most of what goes on here. Not all, but most. But out there in the Wild West, nope. Because if you get it wrong, it reflects on us. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it was an
Breaking
on-air
news.
comment. It was
Breaking
Go
news.
ahead, Andrew. Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel got pulled indefinitely from ABC.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
No,
Seriously.
hell?
it's funny.
What you give us? What are you reading there? Go
Lenise
ahead.
just sent it to us in the group.
Okay, so you just have. I'll see if I can look it up as we're talking here. Wow. Pulled indefinitely. Why do you?
So one of the things right before this news came in, I was going to say, we are in a very, very different environment now. The Constitution
Clearly.
is being shredded, and it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about honoring the king, and we're going to continue to see pushback, but little by little.
Well, let's talk about some of the solutions. Let's switch lanes for a second and talk about something that's been coming up recently as a suggestion to push back on MAGA and the Trump administration in general, and that is the upcoming budget agreement deadline. It's coming up on the 30th. And there's been a lot of folks who say, look, this time, a lot of Democrats, independents, but folks on that side of the fence, saying, look, to fight back, maybe we just need to let the government shut down. They need the help of, okay? they need the help of the Democrats.
Did you guys hear that? Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was responding to. Like, yelling in the background. The Democrats are needed to pass this budget, as you know. Yes. And they can certainly bring it down, most likely with a filibuster. The question is this. Should they pass this budget agreement coming up, or shut the government down in a way to fight back?
Elliot, I need to have a better understanding of what is to be gained by shutting it down. I read a little bit of the article you sent, but not all of it. I need to understand what is the steps that actually could have some success.
Let me fill you in. So here's what they're suggesting, and this particularly came from Ezra Klein before it was spread through a bunch of folks. But Klein suggests that shutting down the government, rather than just shut down the government with no plan, he suggests, and other people are suggesting as well, that the Democrats, independents, go to the Republicans, MAGA or what have you, with a list of demands, things that we want to have done. We want to end this this indiscriminate detaining and deportation of people in this country, particularly people who are Americans. We want to put some of this money back that has been taken away, that was already appropriated by a former administration, and on and on and on. So we've got a list of things that we need to correct right now because people are hurting, people don't like this, and people don't like the direction this is going. And when you meet our demands, and I don't know how they do that comprehensively and have some guarantee that it won't be reversed at some point, then we'll help you pass this budget agreement. But until then, no haps. So that's generally it.
But do we even have the votes to be able to do it? Let's just say all the Democrats came to agreement and said.
Two things can happen. First of all, they need the Democrats to even pass the darn thing. It's a 2/3, and if that doesn't work, I believe they can filibuster. And so there's a deadline, the 30th of this month. If they filibuster past the deadline, then we're shut down. So there's a couple of ways. There's a couple of ways they can do it very easily. The backlash on that, of course, is that it's never a good thing, obviously, to shut down the government. And what you think may be to your advantage, even though people have been screaming for you to fight back, may actually bite you in the ass going down the line, because you now own the government shutdown. But Democrats, independents, are hoping that they can get the Republicans to own it. Good or bad? Should they do it, or is this flying in the wind?
Yeah, I'm especially interested in the process relative to Obamacare, because apparently there's a big chunk of Obamacare that potentially will go away with the way the Republicans are approaching this resolution, and that's going to hurt a lot of people. Again,
it's going to hurt me. I'm looking at a huge increase in my premium.
I believe you.
Huge increase.
Yeah, I believe you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You're not alone.
Another news break. The reason he was let go was because of his comments about Charlie Kirk.
Oh my God. What the hell?
Yeah, I haven't watched Kimmel in a few nights, but I can imagine. Kimmel I actually liked for his humor and the edge of his humor a little bit more than Colbert, although I like Colbert as well. But Kimmel could really stick it and twist it from time to time.
It's fun.
He's full time on Trump. That's his opening monologue every night is just going after Trump mercilessly, and he does a great job. Apparently, he said, and I didn't even pick up on this, and I watch him, at least his monologue every night. He apparently said something about this shooter, this assassin, being a member of Trump's MAGA
Tyler Robinson
cabal,
Yeah. I mean, his whole
I don't recall it.
He was steeped.
His whole family was.
Yeah, he was steeped in the philosophy, and so a lot of people are scratching their heads, wondering, well, okay, that's a hell of a buyer's remorse coming out of that. How did he turn? Of course, the Republicans are claiming or accusing the left of goes
I might
again.
have to mute.
That's okay. Accusing the Democrats of radicalizing him. We don't know if that's true or not, but
I have been, I mean, things, I really am on the edge of feeling like I just don't want to pay attention anymore, that I don't want to hear anymore, that we're just going to have to live with the direction Republicans want this country to go in. I know that's cowardice. I feel that it's cowardice to do that. But at some point, you know, where does living my life and not feeling like helpless that this is happening to my country? I mean, I just had a conversation with my daughter. She doesn't want to have children.
Right.
You know, I mean, yeah, we went through a pretty ugly divorce and we had some hard years, but it's really, she's a smart, very, very attentive to what's going on in the world. Not on social media. She's not on social media, but she works at a college, and you know, she's like, I don't want to bring a child into this world.
let me ask you this question.
have
Let me ask you
a,
this question, Andrea. How much news do you consume on a daily basis? A lot?
Really?
A lot? Yeah. Is it a
You
lot?
want to ask me that?
Okay. Then I'll assume that it's a lot.
Too much.
Which I
Far
assume,
too much. I got my
We-
notifications on.
We all do, especially the people
Yeah.
here in this little cabal. I recommend, because I do this on a regular basis, and it does affect all of us, you gotta turn it off. Find something else that you're really interested in, a book, Turner Classic Movies if it's TV, if it's radio, turn
Oh,
on
I do,
Yeah,
but
I
you
mean, but
know,
re- no,
I
but
sit
I mean,
and watch
really-
my murder shows.
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean-
have my notifications on at the same time.
Oh,
and you gotta
I have
keep
my
it
book,
right. So you gotta
and
shut
I
it.
have my notifications on.
Yeah.
Shut it all down. Shut it all down.
Yeah.
And I recommend
Yeah, on
that.
Sundays I do,
Yeah, and that's what I was
and
going
it
to say.
isn't because I'm praying.
That's what I was going to say. On the weekends are a good time for that because the news cycle is low. Shut it down, turn it off, get away from it because you're experiencing a form of PTSD. Honestly, we used to get it in news all the time. Somebody had to bring it to my attention once and said, no, what you're suffering from is that you're out there every day talking about people's misery. If it's not misery, it usually doesn't make the news. Sorry, there's no such thing as good news.
Right.
So it's always this, always that, and it piles up. So you're experiencing the same kind of routine that many people in news do. And the worse the situation, the worse the symptoms can be. Shut it off. Listen to Uncle L. Trust me on this one. Hey, we're out of time,
have to
folks.
do it more.
We're out of time. We're in 35 going on 40 here. But thank you guys for the conversation. It's been great. Thank you.
Aw,
Thank you,
I don't
Peter.
like
See
drink.
you.
Super.
Thank you, Andrea.
You know
Thank
it.
you, Merrill. Thank you, dogs.
Bye, guys. Yeah.
And thank you for joining us this week. We're here each week on Thursdays, so be sure and follow us so you don't miss a moment. Till then, take care. Peace.